I'd like to call the board, Development Review Board to order, January 16, 15?
15.
Sorry about that, folks. It's 2019, right?
It is 2019.
All right. What do you got here?
First item tonight is our minutes from the last meeting.
Any changes?
Move to approve?
One move to approve,
Second. I'll second it.
second, okay, then. All in favor?
I'm abstaining. I'm abstaining too.
Okay, 2 abstentions.
Okay. Next item is our witness oath. We ask everybody that wants to speak this evening to sign in, and the signing sheet includes the following witness oath. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pains and penalty of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the board at the board's public hearing held on this day shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Okay. Any disclosure of ex parte communications or conflicts of interest regarding the matter before us this evening? Seeing none?
I don't see any.
All right, we do have one hearing this evening. It's Polar Composite Corporation at 239 Main Street. You'll recall that that's the former LaFlamme's Furniture Building. They're seeking approval for light manufacturing use in that existing structure. The applicant did appear before the application review panel yesterday evening. That panel did recommend approval, but the chair has asked the applicant to make a brief presentation to the full board this evening. So we have James Salerno here this evening to representing the applicant.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for your time this evening. My name is James Salerno. I'm the founder of Hale Mountain Research and one of the co-owners of Polar Composite Corporation. Polar Composite Corporation was formed about 3 years ago in New Britain, Connecticut. It was originally intended as a joint venture between my company, Hale Mountain Research, and Polar Corporation, an existing Connecticut aerospace company. After much back and forth on locating the joint venture and much searching, we had an opportunity several months ago to purchase a piece of real estate in downtown Bennington. We seized that opportunity after a brief due diligence period, checking into the history of the building, checking into the applicability and appropriateness of using said building for light manufacturing, and that gets us about current to now. So we're going to be using this building to do advanced research and development for the aerospace industry, specifically for machining jet engine components for companies like Pratt & Whitney. We have secured a long-term agreement with Pratt & Whitney, so right now it's going to be a matter of figuring out what the appropriate split of business is between the existing facility down in Connecticut and what we can do up here in Bennington.
Any questions to the board? Ron?
How about the Historical Preservation Committee? Had that been run by those folks?
So
In that district, isn't it?
So yes, but there's no changes to the exterior, so there's nothing for them.
Nothing for them?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
right, it is part of our long-term plan to try to make the building look more appropriate. In my background research on the building, I did determine that the building was part of the original Dewey family homestead. It was their livestock and horse barn. It was a auto dealership for nearly 100 years, various auto dealerships for nearly 100 years. It's in my opinion, it's a cool building, and I'd like to do something cool with it. So if there's some way in the future, you'll probably be seeing me again for, I don't want to call them updates to the facade. I suppose they would be backdates to the facade, potentially.
Go ahead, Dan.
Would you expect the retail portion to be connected at all to Polar Composites?
Right now, my partner and I are kicking around the idea of a small part of the retail component being a publicly accessible 3D printing farm. We're a local artisans, tinkerers, inventors, what have you, would be able to come in and either use our 3D printing equipment, or we would be able to quote them some of the machining services. However, the bulk of the manufacturing, due to ITAR regulations and various other customer constraints we have in our contracts, we wouldn't, like the main manufacturing floor wouldn't be open for
non-US
tourists
people.
per se.
Yeah.
But we are kicking around the idea of a publicly accessible component in the front there.
Ron?
Yeah, along those lines, unless I misread the bylaw, isn't it true that to do a small industry thing in this district, you have to have a sales room and a display in the front of the building if you're gonna manufacture on the first floor?
Not pursued, because it's a reuse of an historic structure, it's not
Really?
required. Yeah.
I misread it then. Just bear with me. What I'm looking at here, which is table 3.1, Central Business District, it says light manufacturing is prohibited on the ground floor, street level, unless the Development Review Board pursuant to Board Review under Article 6 and adaptive, so forth. Section 4 determines that the proposed light manufacturing use will include the demonstration and/or exhibition space or of cultural or artistic interests that are open and accessible to the general public, and offer for sale a manufactured product produced on premises. Page 30. And maybe I'm misinterpreting this. I'm not too good at that.
I am familiar with the verbiage that you're referencing. If it makes sense to the board, said 3D printing farm and manufacturing facility that is open to the public would satisfy that requirement, would it not?
Well, it says it has to be demonstrated for sale also, include demonstration and/or exhibition space open to the public. Offer for sale, you're not gonna be selling that stuff to the public.
It says and/or exhibition.
No, but that's another sentence, different sentence, yeah. Number 2, offer for sale manufactured products produced on premises.
All right, so if another local manufacturer or a member of the public comes to us and needs a part machine or needs something 3D printed on premises, would that satisfy that regulation?
I don't know. That would have to be up to the enforcement officer to determine that, I believe. So his ruling was, and we go from there. I think it's a good idea, once you gotta get in at that big old empty place, let's face it.
No, and I appreciate
Yeah.
your diligence in making sure that we're doing the right thing here.
Yeah, we've been hoodwinked from that. Oh, yeah.
I'm fine with it, but.
What do you think, Dan?
Well, it was my determination that it was acceptable, but the board can make any decision that they would like.
You could make an argument that if they offer 3D printing and just take any sample of a 3D printed material and use that as a display, that would satisfy that. Because you're selling the service of the 3D printing.
Correct.
Well, then again, our manufacturing part components for aircraft, is that light manufacturing? I mean, what's light and heavy?
Light manufacturing by International Building Code is anything that needs a 125 pound per square foot floor load. Things like light machining, machine shops of small components. We're making things that are smaller than a bread box here on our machines. We're not making, massive forgings. We're not melting down metal. We're not messing with a bunch of crazy chemicals. This is going to be light manufacturing and research and development for the aerospace industry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Solari.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Yes, Bill.
Has anybody talked to you about the parking lot I don't know, Dan, I don't know if you know, does the town at one point was trying to get a right of way across that back parking lot because they have to get to the culvert on the other side of the stream to clean it out?
There hasn't been any discussion about that, no. Not that I'm aware of.
Are you talking about, if you go to whatever page that I have the plot on, I think it's the 3rd page? Are you talking about the area that I have marked for snow retention there?
That's in the front, isn't it?
I have a more detailed version on the third page that we made.
If you go down Grant Street and this first photo here,
Oh, sure.
okay, go down Grant Street where the two trucks are parked, they show a picture of two trucks.
Sure.
There's, you have a fence there,
Yep.
and if you look where the trees are, there, somewhere right in there, there's a culvert, town culvert that comes out into the brook, and periodically they have to get to it to clean it.
I'm familiar with the culvert towards the front of the property that kind of runs under Sunnyside Diner's
Right, that's
parking
the
lot.
brook, yeah.
I don't know where the location of the back culvert is, but if we had to work out something with the town for routine maintenance of the culvert, I don't see that being a huge issue on my
I
end.
don't think anybody's even thought about it.
I believe it's pretty close to the curve in Grant Street, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's actually way, see those, it's back way from, you have to go all the way back in from Grant Street or come in from the other side. And I'm not sure if it's where the new bank is or not.
Yes, it is. It is where the new bank is. Yep, it's behind the new bank.
Sort of at the far end.
It just may have to give town access, that's all I'm saying.
No, that's, I mean, if it keeps the stream from backing up into our basement, I'd be all for that.
Go for it.
That's all.
Anyone else? What's the board's pleasure?
I move we close the hearings and go to deliberative
I
session.
can't hear you, Ryan.
I move we close the hearing and go into deliberative session.
Okay,
Second.
okay,
I'll second.
okay. All in favor? Dan will have an answer for you tomorrow, James.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Need a motion to close the hearing? All approved?
Second.
Bill seconds. All in favor?
That's my job tonight.
Really dating you.